Alright. Okay. Here we go. Doing this again. Because my camera decided, or my phone decided, nah, I'm gonna stop recording. I didn't even realize it mid-recording. Alright, so, I should start over. Uh, shit. What was I saying again? Oh, right. Um, so, where to begin? Where to begin with all of this whole nonsense of PlayStations are always exclusive, or that consoles always exclusives are selling consoles now, and I'm like, that's not true anymore. Back in the 90s, there was a reason to sell exclusives back then. There might have been a reason to. But you see, nowadays, there just literally is no reason to do that. Especially since, well, if you think about it, exclusives are practically dead. When are they ever never going to be dead? Like, when? Since when? Because to think that, that consoles sell exclusives now is just not too far, basically a bit of a stretch, aka not too far off from a lie, because that's literally what it is. Just this, it's a blatant lie nowadays. It just is. And furthermore, false advertising of you get 60 FPS and this, that, and the third. I don't need to go into more detail about that than people have already done that. All I just need to say is, well, just go watch other people bring that up, and you'll see why. You will see my point exactly on how much false advertising has been the case for a lot of console manufacturers, or not console manufacturers, but a lot of people, or a lot of people. When it comes to Microsoft and Sony, specifically Sony at that point, just false advertising you the idea that this has 60 FPS when some games are locked at 30 FPS instead of 60. But anyway, I'm not going to go into that than I already had, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And you want to know what's the worst part about the PS5 or PlayStation at this point? Yeah, the PS5 Pro is $699.99, at least in the US. I don't know about other territories besides Canada, so probably 1,000 Canadian, I'm going to presume. Um, it probably costs that much in Canada. So for all the Canadians out there, yeah, yikes, that's expensive. Ugh. So yeah, and all the PlayStation fanboys that wanna say that the only true way to experience a PlayStation is to get a PS5. I'm like, that's not true. And especially since PlayStation games are coming to PC, so what you gonna do about it? Oh, that's right, nothing. They're gonna do nothing about that. They can keep crying and whining that every game that comes to PC is not really a PlayStation game. Well, then what do you call this? The Last of Us on PC. What do you call that? God of War Ragnarok on PC. What do you call that? Hmm? Exactly. But yeah, that's probably about it for me, because I'm just like, I feel like I'm just done of the whole thing. Actually, turns out I'm not really, but I could go on for a little bit longer. But nevertheless, it's just this annoyance of just uh it's been annoying me for years, this whole thing of like PlayStation will always be exclusive, and I'm like, no it won't. Just you wait. Just you wait till the PS5 Pro gets just as scalped as the PS5 or the base PS5 did at launch. Just you wait. Just you wait. Then we'll see what happens. We will see what happens later. Pretty much. So so y'all fanboys cannot be one to talk when the PS5 will flop so hard, when even the PC ports are doing better than their actual consoles. Isn't that Would that be sad? Because I'm pretty sure it would be. It really would be. Like at this point, I'm like not going to be surprised at this point if that's literally legitimately how they're going about, the PlayStation brand is just to release PC ports, And if that's going to be the way to go about it from in the future, then yeah, no wonder people aren't going to get a PS5, especially a PS5 Pro, that cost $700. $700 hairs. But yeah, that's my point is don't buy into these people, these PlayStation fanboys. Don't even give them any acknowledgement or response. Just ignore them. They just shouldn't exist. They like to bitch and whine about video games. They're not gamers. They sure as hell are not gamers. They never played any fucking video games in their life. They never had, never will. They want to bitch about the game on Twitter, and that's all they do. They just go on Twitter, bitch about the game, and that's it. They don't fucking play it. They claim they played The Last of Us, but they never did. They never did. That's the problem. That's just it, really. But yeah, moment. Okay, so bottom line, these people are not gamers. In the same way that these anti SDW, anti woke people are, just like in the same way how those people are, they're not actual gamers or comic book fans or whatever. They're not. They claim to be, but they're not. If they actually were, they wouldn't have cared. They really, really wouldn't have cared because real gamers don't care about any of that crap. They don't. They really don't. And just as much as I shouldn't give a shit about any of that. But I have to point it out, and I have to spread the message, or kind of spread the message, but like, basically get the gist out of everybody that this is literally an epidemic of people that legit claim to be gamers, but are not. So the fraud gamers, if you will. So yeah, that's my gist on that. Bottom line, they're not gamers. They're frauds. You call gamers. They're frauds, or they're fraud gamers. Anyways, sorry about that. Anyways, yeah. That's all I'm gonna say about PlayStation fanboys is they're fraud gamers. Oh, and Nintendo fanboys as well too. If any, if there's anyone that actually does exist, they're fraud gamers. So anyways, doodles.